bitches all day. Y'all just jelly. I don't mean to be mean. I came to get my point
All
across.
right.
Girl catches so many balls in one day. Call it Randy Moss.
Okay, not bad to start the show. Bobby Z here,
What's up? It's Tyrique.
and we have a special guest with us today, Hunter Goulart.
Yo.
Alrighty, guys. This has been a while in the making. I'm excited to get into some deep talks
It's the
today.
second show. Shut up.
Yeah, that is true. This is only the second show. Anyways, so Hunter, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So obviously, I also go to Ferrum College and wrestled.
Start Audacity.
It's alright, just keep it going.
So I'm Bobby's roommate of 4 years and teammates with these two clowns for Ferrum Wrestling.
Dang.
That's right.
Alright, Tyrique, how was your week since we last talked?
This shit been stressful.
Yeah.
Fucking stressful. I ain't even gonna get into it. Just know it's a whole bunch of legal bullshit.
Okay.
This podcast might be over quicker than it started.
Okay. So I won't ask too much on that. Anyway, so that brings us to a couple talks we can have today. Hunter and I were talking, him and his girlfriend and I, last night about some government control.
They're gonna control your
Yeah,
minds.
government control conspiracy theories. So pretty much where we started with that, or one of the topics of conversation. What's that?
I don't think it's picking your voice up that much.
It's alright. Fuck Audacity.
Okay.
We YouTube official. Over 700 subscribers. No, I'm just kidding. But started with the fluorinated water. So obviously everything we drink in the bottles of water to the water you buy at local grocery stores, it's all
All contains fluoride. Yeah.
filled with trace minerals.
One of the big constituents being fluoride, which is supposedly quote unquote good for your teeth. But actually, I mean, yes, I'm sure there's some research that shows it's good for your teeth, but it is also numbing your mind and making you more docile for the government to control you.
And you said it affects directly the pineal gland, right?
Well, yeah, well, first, let's kind of put into context, too. I mean, the main reason I started thinking down this path and did some of my own research, and where I heard it from was actually Joe Rogan's podcast with Jesse Ventura, and he's known to be a big conspiracy theorist. But actually, one thing he spoke on kind of triggered me. I thought it was interesting how back however many years ago when we started to introduce fluorinated water or fluoride into our water, it was mainly implemented by government force. That, you know, it was, a lot of people didn't ask or question. They said, you know, it's good for our teeth, we'll go ahead and implement it. And it was easy for big cities, but a lot of small counties and other rural areas relied on like natural spring water or some other, you know, well water, some other form of water that wasn't supplied by the government through, you know, governmental pipes and pretty much facilitated by them. And one thing that Jesse Ventura said was apparently during this time period while they were implementing that, like I said, there was a small rural area that had a natural spring or something like that supplying the city water, and you know they're all content with that. They're happy with the natural water. They didn't want, you know, any of this fluoride water, wasn't interested in what the government was offering. And you would think, you know, if all they're doing is adding this element to better our health and, you know, fix our teeth, why would they push it so hard? And after even just a little bit of resistance from this town or whatever, they used the National Guard to come in and force this town to switch to the fluorinated water. And like I said, why would the government come in and force you to drink this fluorinated water if it's just for your teeth?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many motherfuckers that don't brush their teeth and get their front
it's your
grill.
choice ultimately to take care of your teeth or not.
Exactly. People get their front grill knocked out from poor hygiene all the time, and you don't see the government up in arms. So, you know, that leads to the questions like, why would they force an already thriving, you know, town and water supply? You know, why would they force that fluoride? And one thing that Jesse Ventura got into is how, like I said, used to make the masses docile and more controllable, because fluoride is one of the main constituents and ingredients in Prozac, which is a antidepressant. So
You're less creative and
well, that's partially what it does to the pineal gland, but I mean, think on antidepressants. Like I know you've known people who've taken antidepressants and it makes them a zombie.
yeah.
You don't have full control over your emotions. It's messing with the chemical imbalances in your brain.
Alertness and it all. Yeah.
Exactly, and then also, what we're talking about, the pineal gland, fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. And for those of you who don't know what the pineal gland is, it's a small pine cone shaped gland in your brain that helps produce like serotonin and melatonin, controls your sleep pattern, your circadian rhythm. But also it's a main gland that helps with creativity, like insight, tuition, thought pattern. So by taking this fluoride, it's calcifying that gland, aka killing your creativity, hindering your thought, your normal sleep patterns. You become more irritable. You're less likely to speak out. You're less creative. So I mean that's
many side effects and many manipulative properties they can take a hold of by
exactly
enforcing this.
Numbs you down as a person and makes you more controllable. Because I mean, I know a lot of people would say, why does the government want to make you more controllable, more relaxed, more docile? But I mean, just think, unfortunately, the United States, the political machine is just as much an economic benefit as it is just straight power. Like people do this to make money, and if you can swing the majority, the masses, into doing something that can help the few make money or go in the direction they want to go, obviously they're not above that.
Yeah.
In other words, the government ain't shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you can look at pharmaceutical industries and say almost the same thing. They're putting out these addicting pain killers, and then now they're even putting out like recovery drugs for them. It's like, what are you trying to enforce here? What are you trying to market?
Oh yeah, it's all for money. It's all for money.
Yeah. How do you feel about that theory though, Tyrique, with the fluorinated water and
I don't know. I drink the water that is supplied to us.
yeah.
So unless we live in Michigan, I don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, government control has not just been some of recent; it's been ongoing history. It's, I mean, there are empires,
Yeah, I mean, every massive, empire or group of people, throughout time becomes, corrupt eventually.
And so that brought us to the question yesterday, which we were ultimately trying to get to or think of, or at least I wanted to understand, like, when did government control start to take place, maybe in the U.S.? Like, when was the change period? Like, before World War One, before World War Two, after, obviously before Kennedy's assassination, because I think that definitely played some role. I'm not trying to come from a conspiracy theorist perspective, but
Then don't.
But I mean, it's hard to.
There's a lot of facts.
Yeah, it's hard to say or hard to pinpoint, though. I mean, I'm sure it didn't start off like that. I mean, the whole reason the United States came to be was, the colonists wanted to escape a tyrannical government. So I believe, the first couple presidents had, true intentions of, doing their civic duty and doing right by the American population. I mean, I'm sure it didn't all come at once. It starts as small things, easy things like, getting exempt from tax, hey, I give you one of my 12 heads of cattle, and you get me out of tax,
People
paying
who
tax
work for the government. You're
yeah,
talking about in
yeah.
particular.
Just saying, like, I'm sure it started on a small, very small scale, and then eventually,
Oh, I'm sure they get their taxes written off. I'm sure they get a lot of compliments and beneficiaries.
Yeah, just the fact that there's lobbyists shows that, it's kind of a corrupt system. I mean, if politicians, at least in my opinion, should be doing politics for the good of the country and to implement their own beliefs. You know, it should be the betterment of their constituents, not taking money from outside companies like all these people do, like Hillary Clinton, like everybody, you know?
Yeah, she made a deal with what was it? The Ukrainian deal for the oil. She traded away like 30 billion dollars for a certain amount of oil.
Well, I'm just saying people like their campaign, back their campaign like special interest groups, like, you know, just for example, like what if Ferrari came up to you and said, look, we're gonna give you money now to get you into office, and when you're there, you know, look out for me. Make sure, you know, that my Ferraris don't have to go to the same level of you know, environmental friendliness. Let's say, you know, make me exempt from the emission tests that cars have to go through, and I'll, you know, financially back you right now. That shows, you know, right there that there's something flawed in our system. Politics aren't a how do I make money and get to where I want to be by helping out other people, you know, their organizations, businesses. You know, it should be doing things for the right of the country, and having your beliefs, you know, stay true, not conform to whatever's going to help you out. You know, your constituents elect you there.
That's the problem with power, though. I mean, these people get in these powerful positions, and then it's hard, you know. I mean, like if you're in that position to where you're given an option to get your taxes written off, you're promised, you know.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I'm sure everybody else, you know, probably starts humble till they get that taste of the money, and then, you know, when you get whatever you want, because you have tons of money, you're willing to do whatever it takes to ensure you keep getting whatever you want. You know, so I'm sure it happens all the time. I mean, but it also shows too, like, political beliefs aside, you know, a very rich and powerful businessman who just had lots of money decided, you know, I want to be the most powerful man in the free world. And although I do commend him for not using, you know, lobbyists, he pretty much financed himself, but still, I mean, that goes to show that the people with the money are controlling the system.
Yeah, he definitely didn't need the money. He didn't need the lobbyists.
No, it's all about the power there, man. And when you're in that position, like I said, they want to control us. They'll do what it takes to make more money, you know, to get what they want. So I'm sure they don't.
I'm sorry I'm so quiet. I'm over here trying to edit this photo because your boy's about to come out with a new mix tomorrow, gang. If y'all haven't already, I don't mean to cut y'all's shit off. If you haven't already, go ahead and check it out. Freak Show. That's FRIQUE SHOW. Check it out.
All right. Thank you for that. All right, so
Had to promote myself.
last thing on this topic, then what do you think is the best way? Do you think having a two-party system, or do you think having a president to be in total power, which they're not, because of course there's many people that play into decisions.
Are they not?
No, I wouldn't say the president has complete power. I think if he made something irrational enough to...
Yeah, but on paper, maybe in the public, but dude,
Yeah,
there's
he's
so
kind of
many-
just a figure that we look at as
so many executive orders, dude. The president has probably so many things that we don't know about that are on paper, not authorized or not right by our bicameral system, that they just do anyways, and we never know about. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's no 100% foolproof solution.
Yeah, and it's like maybe I know Joe Rogan even, he's mentioned like, oh, they may need like 10, 15, 20 people to, control the country or, run the country. But I think that could actually start a problem in getting a large group of people, and then, it's just what we talked about.
Yeah,
it's
like
more behind the back type stuff happening.
Yeah, it's like an oligarchy.
Yeah.
Like you have the few wealthy people in power and everybody else, suffers to their rule. But I mean, I think
If we got the 20 right people in the position, then yeah,
no
it's
doubt,
hard
that's
to
right.
trust.
But finding the right 20 people, And I think even though Donald Trump is probably, whatever you believe on him, he's probably not 100% the best pick, but I do like how we elected someone who's not a career politician, someone who
Has a business background.
well, just more free thinking for themselves, and politicians have tricks and all this shit. They know how to get to the people, and a lot of the times those career politicians are the ones, that have all these scandals that are corrupt. And I think you need someone with an outside perspective. I think that's a step in the right direction, but honestly there shouldn't be like parties or people polarizing themselves. I think that's what makes it worse. Like, you get so dogmatic when you're in a certain political party, you stick to the philosophies or die. There's no wiggle room. People, go to far ends of each spectrum. That a lot of times, if you just think about things logically, it makes sense. But they're so stuck to their beliefs. They resort to violence or to verbal assault, all these crazy
Well, the
things
problem is
because they
like
can't.
violence.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said I like violence.
Don't get me wrong, violence is a good motivator when
Violence
necessary.
is fun
but
when you're hitting the bag. That's my kind of violence. Hitting that bag for a 40-minute workout.
yeah, don't get me wrong, it's needed sometimes, but I mean over politics, I don't think so. So I think if we got rid of this whole party dogmatic, mindset, and got to more of like people just believing their own ideas on certain issues, and just finding the right person. And I think really we should just move towards the middle, So like I said, people stick to the beliefs on their side, but really, I mean, there's things to take from both sides. Both parties. There's good policies and good ways to go about things. So I don't know. I think if we just all moved more towards the middle, and got rid of the extremes, we'd be better off.
Yeah. So I don't know if we mentioned last show, but just like a little background on like what we're all going to be getting into in the next 6 months, 6 to 12 months. Tyrique's finishing up the wrestling season, and then he's going to pursue the DJing gig. He's going to blow up and hopefully be at
Putting out a new
your
mix tomorrow.
soonest nightclub. Hunter, he can tell you a little more, but he's going to do what very few people would want to do, and he's going to try to become a Navy SEAL.
Well, that's a plan, yeah, but I mean,
Elaborate off that. And I'm going to be trying to go to PT school and have a doctor to my name. But go
Yeah,
ahead, Hunter.
yeah.
Elaborate off the Navy SEAL aspirations.
well, I'm just saying what we're doing the next 6 months.
Bobby ain't shit.
Obviously, that's that's all just hearsay for now. But I know for a fact the next 6 months I'll be coaching back at home since we're both graduating early. I'll be coaching a middle school team in wrestling and probably getting a assistant or substitute teacher position out of school too, just to make some cash while I'm talking to the Navy, and hopefully, like you said, I can pursue the Navy SEAL thing, but
So,
just keep my options open for right now.
okay, so as far as for people who don't know like a lot about the military or Navy in particular, give us the process. Like, how does it work? Where do you start, and then where do you go? Like, what are the steps into becoming a Navy SEAL?
Well, hopefully the route I'm going to take is through my enlistment, try to get in my contract so that I can go. Well, first off, you got to put out, good PT scores and show that you're serious and that you're capable. And everybody obviously gives the basic, but after that, there's a pre-buds selection in Lake Michigan, I believe. So after basic and all that jazz, I'd like to go, straight to there. And then obviously if you pass that selection, you go to San Diego
For the real
for the real buds, which is like a 6-month-long process. And then, if you graduate from that, you get your trident and become a Navy SEAL.
Which is something I could not do.
Well, hopefully I can, man. I mean,
Well, first off, I can't swim, so.
Well, you definitely already have the right mindset just from wrestling. And it's definitely going to contribute in a big way.
yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, a lot of people always say they want to be a Navy SEAL and never follow through with it, so I don't like to talk about it or blow it up too much, just rather go and do it and get it done and talk about it later. But yeah, I mean, I've had some help. I think definitely as far as, I mean, even the recruiters and stuff have said that, out of all the athletes, wrestlers have the highest passing rate through buds. So I think just off the mindset,
Of course. Look at all the shit.
Wonder
that we
what's the
have to do.
second sport?
Exactly, dude. I mean,
Cross country, probably.
yeah, probably running or swimming, but
Maybe volleyball.
yeah, I doubt that. I mean, I don't know if you can bounce that ball on your nose. Be a pretty good seal. But yeah, I mean, freaking doing all those hard ass workouts, and then on top of that, cutting weight, so you already feel like shit. You know, your body is responding in a negative way. You can't help sometimes but have those negative thoughts when you're emaciated, you're hungry, you're tired, and you have to go in the room and beat another grown man's ass for 2 hours and fucking, you know, nonstop moving, losing 6 or 7 pounds of sheer sweat. I mean, that and keeping your head in the game and making it through all that will definitely.
That's why I went heavyweight.
Yeah, exactly right. But I mean, you've been there. We were both
Yeah,
at 197.
Yeah,
at
these
one
two
point,
were
cutting
training
weight.
partners.
You were at 197. I was whatever the fuck I wanted to be.
But yeah, I mean that, and then I've had some people help me out. You know, it's a lot of calisthenics, like run your push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups, and then obviously the road work, the running, and then swimming. So I've been putting in some work in those areas. Hopefully getting a little bit ready. Having those big muscles doesn't help you swim or run.
Yeah, you almost have to like shrink down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose a little bit of weight and focus more on my, you know, cardio endurance than
How much do you weigh
Strong.
right now?
probably like 215, and I'd like realistically to be between 195 and 205. So probably, you know, close to the 200 mark. I think would be good for me, and I could be in, you know, top physical form, be strong enough to do everything I need to do, but also run for days and swim for days.
Fuck that. I can't swim at all, so I don't
Yeah.
think I qualify for anything.
Do you guys remember when we did that marine training run
No, yeah,
around
Yeah,
Market
so-
Field?
What was that, last year?
That was pretty tough.
2 years ago, I think.
Was that what we had to put on the back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the ruck run.
Yeah.
40 pounds.
See, and I couldn't do that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
First off, I'm not gonna carry that much weight ever in my life when I run. So why should I have to do it when we're running?
Well, that's a purpose of marine
Yeah,
training. They would.
But
They're carrying around all that heavy shit.
I don't want to be a
Bunch of
Marine.
snacks.
I don't want to be a fucking Marine. I'm sorry. Like I feel like if that's what other heavyweights feel, that are that are the actual 285 feel when they run, I see why they always get last. I'm sorry, but that was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. Man, we had so many grueling workouts. It's hard to put a number on like the worst 5.
And then this year we switched to 6 a.m.s a week.
Yeah, how do you like that compared to
Well,
one or
I mean,
two
that was
6 a.m.s
that
last
was
year?
during preseason. Since then, we only have one a week actually, or like when we're competing at the end of the week, we have one. But yeah, those 6 a.m.s they kick my ass. Like literally every day, I started thinking to myself like I could be doing some work right now, but I really need to just go to sleep. You know, like I need to take a nap.
Dude, that was the worst, man. I could never get it up that early in the morning. Like, I'd always wrestle the best at the 4 p.m. practices. Like, getting up, your body's like
It's so crazy.
freaking stiff. You can't get your get your adrenaline going.
That's
like,
weird.
just
I get
feel-
up pretty easily in the morning.
I'm a morning person, but I don't feel like
You guys
waking
missed
up and then having to wrestle. You know what I mean? Because you know it's going to be tough. You know you're not going to get out in time to go to breakfast or your 8 a.m. class, you know? So you're just like, I mean, what's the point, you know?
Yeah, no, I can wake up early, but like you're saying, I mean, just the actual, you know, getting your body going
Yeah.
and, you know, knowing that it's going to impact the rest of your day, man. You go for an hour and a half, balls to the wall at 6 a.m., dude. You're going to be tired for your
barely
class. Yeah, exactly. That's definitely one of the, talk about mental toughness, talking yourself into
Yeah.
getting this wrestling workout every 6 a.m. at least 2 days a week, telling yourself, I just got to make it through this and I can eat breakfast and get the rest of the day going.
Not only
Take it
that,
out.
but just like getting up and then thinking like, what do I eat? Do I drink something? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have a shitty workout. I mean, nothing's more demoralizing as, waking up early in the morning feeling like shit and then also getting your ass beat on top of feeling
Exactly.
like shit thinking the rest of the day, damn, man, dude, I got a fucking headlock right to my back today, and everyone saw.
And then you go to breakfast and you don't even want to talk to anybody, and you're just like already done with the day.
Once we get to breakfast, I'm okay. I'm just like, fuck it. Like, it's over now. So, it's over. Fuck it. But I don't know. Like, during preseason, I remember I used to buy Pedialyte and, like, little, like fruit snack
cups.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like, fruit cups, too.
Right.
But it was either, like, fruit snacks or fruit cups. Just something, like, put something on my stomach in the morning. Because, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, the worst feeling ever is going into a 6 a.m. practice, busting your ass, and, like, having to
Feeling
throw
that
up.
hunger.
Yeah, you, like, feel that hunger, and then halfway through one live go, you feel like you're about to throw up, and you're like, you don't have anything to throw up. It's just going to be, like...
Yeah, no, I feel that. I'm the same way. I can't operate on especially a hard workout on an empty stomach. Like, I didn't give a fuck if we were checking weight or not. I had to have, like, a bottle of water and a granola bar before...
And I'm sorry. These freshmen, like, they'll really push your ass. I'm just gonna keep it real.
They're hard workers.
Yeah, like I will honestly say that this is the best freshman class that we've had probably since our class.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I mean, you get some guys who quit, obviously, you know, like, but you can kind of tell that beforehand.
Yeah,
you know,
you
before
can notice who's
even
gonna be a
over.
hard worker and who's
Right.
gonna puss out.
And then we had some guys who got injured and they kind of, you know, just like floated on to the wayside, you know, like just
Slipped into the distance.
Yeah, they kind of just quit themselves, thinking that, you know, oh well, I'm injured, you know, I can't do anything, just bye, you know. But I mean, these guys, they really want to be here, you know, or if not here, then they at least just want to wrestle, you know. So I think our coach is more appreciative of that than anything.
Yeah, there's something to be said for people just fucking scrap and go hard, because a lot of times, like we've all seen it, the most talented, naturally gifted wrestlers who can just step on the mat and turn it on and fuck someone up are the laziest pieces of shit you ever met. That don't want to work hard, don't want to do anything right. They're just have God-given talent. So there's something to be said for guys that work hard to make themselves good, or are good and work hard. Just having that work ethic speaks more to me, and, you know, is more valuable to me than having these dudes that are lazy, you know, do whatever they want but can whoop someone's ass.
And that's kind of like where I'm coming from, I guess, as far as like a senior, because I've never made it anywhere, you know, huge. Y'all both know that, but I don't know, it's kind of just been more of like a just finish it out type of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, you personally, like, you're one of the people that, you know, from day one to now, like, your improvement is fucking day and night. Like, honestly, out of all the people who I've seen on the team, like, their transition in 4 years, I can honestly say, like, yours was the biggest transformation from your little pudgy dude who just wanted to throw everybody freshman year, who couldn't, you know, get anyone off their leg or take a leg attack, and now you're a fucking beast. You know, you're all chiseled up at heavyweight, fucking like, beating people's ass.
Since I've been here, I've won 2 tournaments ever. But the first tournament that I ever won, I won off of a throw. I won off of a lateral drop. I was at the Builder.
Yeah.
Was you there our freshman year at the Builder?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Freshman year.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Thursday.
Oh yeah, I
maybe
remember you was one of the finalists that lost. We were so hurt.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there with Ombi, and he went crazy.
Yeah, he
When did
did
that do
something
nothing
crazy.
But I'm just saying, yeah, man.
I know, like, the entire time, literally, I went the entire tournament with no coach, and I told Ombi, like, I do not want you in my corner. I'm sorry, but
He was crazy.
But I'm just saying, man, you've come
Hopefully
a
he's
long
not
way.
watching.
Definitely come a long way.
Well, thank you. I remember you used to whoop my ass in the room, so. Like, I used to hate, it would be like, I would go with Tate first, he would whoop my ass, like, he would beat the shit out of me, and then I'd go with you, and, I mean, you actually shoot shots, so, I mean, it's
different
like,
ball game after that.
Yeah. Then it's just like, it goes from literally being clubbed to death and getting shit beat out of you from Tate to going to you, and then it's like, I couldn't sprawl out, I couldn't do anything fast enough, so it was just like, fuck it, like, you just getting your ass whooped this morning.
Hey, dude, it's... Some days it be like that. Some days you got it, some days you just fucking take it.
Yeah.
I remember Bobby took me down one time at a or postseason practice, I remember that. And I started fucking with you, and I didn't
Yeah.
think you could take me down.
Yeah. That was funny. Now it's crazy how you can do so good some days, and some days just get your ass kicked.
Yeah, size don't mean anything. Remember, freaking Bobby Cunningham took down Tate in a double over or a double under. Freaking put him on his back.
Or it's Tate. All right, for everybody that doesn't know, Tate was our heavyweight, and he was like the entire 285. And I remember he got fireman's by Yetzer, and he's like 170 still.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's smaller than what he was in college, honestly. And that's pretty bad.
He must have been jacked.
He said he was like the smallest one in his weight class. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To lose weight after college, I'm not losing weight.
Speaking of heavyweights, did anybody see Daniel Cormier and
Yeah.
Oh, you and Brock Lesnar?
Derek Lewis?
Yeah,
Oh,
Derek
yeah.
Lewis. Yeah, dude, he dominated him.
He did. I knew that was gonna happen though. Derek Lewis, I'm sorry, his condition is terrible. Absolutely.
Well, his skill,
god-awful.
he's just not on the same level as
He's
DC.
not.
He's just one of those guys that just throws haymakers and tries
And
to
that's
connect.
the thing. Like once he, you know what I'm saying, lands his punches, he's good. But I mean, you're not gonna
If he lands, he's not gonna land on DC.
Yeah, that's what I'm
DC's
saying,
better
like-
striker.
Well, DC's
wrestler.
got that. His grappling game is on lockdown. I mean,
So if you feel like, or what do you think about if John Jones and DC were to fight again?
I think DC's the
No.
nicer guy, but John Jones is gonna go do what John Jones does and
Yeah.
just
Okay, I
beat
thought
to
I
death.
thought you were gonna say John Jones. was
No,
gonna lose.
no. I mean,
I'm
I think
sorry. That dude
John
is
Jones
so,
is less of a good guy, and you feel for Cormier, but dude, he's gonna freaking bow that man to death.
John Jones is so fucking good. Like it,
Yeah,
It's
we were watching highlight
crazy.
videos of him the other day in class.
it's crazy. Like he's literally the only person in the UFC right now. He's never, like he has one loss on his record, but that was because
Yeah,
of
DQ or
disqualification.
something.
Yeah,
The only person that beats John Jones is John Jones.
exactly. And just think about stepping across from him. Like you don't have any type of leverage. He's taller than you, longer than you, stronger than you.
Yeah.
You know, he shuts everything that you do down.
Yeah.
He knows how to wrestle.
You know he's fighting Gustafsson,
Dude,
right?
that was his hardest fight he's
gonna
ever
fuck
fought.
up. Yeah, I know, but
That's
he's
gonna be a
gonna
good
fuck
fight.
him up though.
I mean, there's a good possibility.
I mean, I don't know. They're both pretty tall, pretty long
As soon as a
guys. You know.
scrappy motherfucker, that dude's good.
Yeah, both the same. Like,
What do you
both
feel like?
tall,
Okay, what do you feel like? DC would have to improve if he
to
wanted.
beat Jones?
Yes.
No, I'd say striking and defense to striking, because I mean that's what seems to happen. He picks them apart.
I
with
mean,
his
John
punches and
Jones
stuff,
out wrestled
striking.
him almost, so it's hard to say. Like, when
And that's the
should he
thing.
focus more
When
on
you get a
wrestling?
wrestler against another wrestler, it's kind of like it's,
It's whoever's the better striker
Yeah.
most of the time.
and that's the thing about it. Like,
If the wrestling levels are equal,
That's what I'm
then
saying, dude.
it's
He's
gonna
better.
go who's better striking, who's gonna be better on the
So-
ground and guard.
okay, so what do you think about if Khabib and Ben Askren were to?
Well,
Ben Askren's
supposedly
beating that ass.
the word on the street is Ben Askren is gonna fight Robbie Lawler. If you remember him, he was the champ.
I know who
Who
Robbie Lawler is.
Woodley knocked out. So I don't know, but that's an exciting fight. I think Ben Askren's gonna wrestle him though,
He's
I mean,
gonna
and
win.
win that probably. But Robbie Lawler could also knock him out.
I mean,
He's got power.
yeah.
I wish they would just go ahead and just schedule something though.
With
Like,
Khabib.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I think Ben Askren's got to go through the drug testing pool with USADA.
But I
that's
feel
usually
like
4 months. So
I mean, we talked about this one time before, I believe, but just
Yeah.
how the UFC is just transformed from being this like, okay, well, you're the contender, you're the next contender, so you're the next one up.
yeah.
Now it's like you have the most hype around your
Oh
name.
yeah, whoever has the biggest name.
And that's the thing that I feel like is just, I mean, it's so unfair almost just to kind of, I don't know, put Ben Askren in this, like I'm not
In a
gonna
big
take
fight,
anything.
I mean,
I'm not gonna take anything away from him, but why should he get?
well, this is the thing, because he's been long wanting to get in the UFC, but hasn't.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know
he's been
him
so
and Dana White
dominant in
has
all
had-
these other organizations, undefeated. I don't think he should get a title shot right away, maybe, but I think he should get a top 5 fight. He should prove he can beat one of those guys, and then
I
get
say
a title
just top
shot.
10, not even top 5 yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry because Because the thing about it is, you got all these other guys. Think
I
about
mean, there's so many good fights.
think
in the top
about
10.
when you get into the top 10. Those are the guys who really matter. You know what I'm saying? Those are the guys that you heard of before. Okay, why does any of those guys?
Well, this is the thing.
Why do any of them get a backseat? All because
You're right. He hasn't paid his dues yet. He hasn't proved himself.
Like,
in the
okay,
UFC.
yeah, he went to this organization and did his thing. He went to where did he come from? One
FC.
Yeah.
And he was Bellator before that.
Yeah, like he went to Bellator, went to One FC, did his thing. That's fine, but he's not there anymore.
I think he's just on a different skill level than the guys in the top 10. But
I mean,
yeah,
he showed that.
Okay, well,
that's
prove that
debatable.
then.
Yeah,
Well, prove that then.
Yeah, and he showed that he's got skill, but I think you're right. He deserves a top 10 fight just based off his reputation, how good he is. But to land him maybe a top 5 or a title shot right away, it shouldn't be like that. He should get a top 10 fight and then go from there. Like, obviously, he's a good-ass fighter, and he's showing that, but it's a new organization, and it's a lot of it's, like in wrestling. The top 10 dudes could all beat each other any given down at any given time. They're that good that, one little mistake, could give the match away to someone else. So, I mean, anybody in the top 10, I feel like, can contend.
And so, I think the result of the whole trade, though, Demetrius Johnson, they've been talking about closing down the flyweight division, and then Henry Cejudo would just bump up super fight with TJ Dillashaw. And
Cejudo's getting his ass beat.
I think ultimately in the trade...
Hell no.
Hold on, we'll get to that. But ultimately in the trade, it was a good trade for the UFC. I mean, Ben Askren, he can talk, he can promote. No offense to Demetrius Johnson, but super humble dude, wasn't marketable.
I feel
UFC never marketed.
I feel like it probably wasn't fair to Demetrius Johnson. Especially
Well,
given how long he was champion.
He was one of the best, but he never fought. The argument against him is that people thought he never fought high caliber guys, like other champs
high
do.
caliber guys.
Well, there was nobody at him. He ran through everybody. He destroyed everybody.
Then that should say something.
So it should, but people
but you wouldn't
that.
say John Jones ran through everybody that he fought. You wouldn't say
No, you wouldn't. Not with his case, but people look at Demetrius Johnson's run a little bit different for some reason. I'm not sure why.
So John Jones, he fought damn near everybody
He
that there is
fought
to fight at
DC
205.
twice, Gustafson. He fought
Rampage. He fought
He fought
Leo
literally, Machida.
Yeah, literally anybody and everybody that there is to fight at light heavyweight.
Oh, I would never say his run.
So yeah, they have a lot of credentials behind their name, but obviously these guys at flyweight, they wouldn't be in the UFC if they didn't have anything on their name.
Yeah.
They may be smaller guys. They may not have all the accolades that Rampage, Lyoto Machida, all these guys who even from Pride, they wouldn't have. They probably don't have all those accolades, but at the same time, they have some type of respect if they're even here in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was just DJ skills were so far ahead, and people don't want to appreciate them. But until Henry Cejudo learned from his mistakes
you want
and
to talk
beat him.
about him when you talk about pound for pound.
I think he's still pound for pound one of the greatest. I mean,
He is, and that's the thing about it. Like, if you can talk about him in that conversation,
then he deserves to be there.
Exactly. I don't care who's in his weight class. If you don't feel like everybody or anybody in his weight class is testing him, find somebody new.
Yeah.
Don't trade him necessarily. Like, yeah, it was a good trade, because Ben Askren, obviously, he deserves his shot. But at the same time,
threw in your best dudes under the bus.
Exactly. Like they'll be like, how would they feel, or how would you feel if they was to trade John Jones for whoever? You know what I'm saying? All to give somebody else an opportunity.
Yeah, I think Dana White is shady at times, definitely.
He is.
About at press conferences and stuff to the public, he doesn't give the full truth. He doesn't give he can't though.
I feel like
to protect himself.
Him and Tyron Woodley don't have a good relationship. Yeah. And that's crazy because Tyron Woodley, I mean, what is he, welterweight champion?
170.
Yeah. And a lot of people doubt him at the same time. But you see he's still the champion, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, when he fought Darren Till,
they
thought he was going to lose.
Yep.
And Darren Till, don't get me wrong, he's a monster. But at the same time, you're not giving the champion his due. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking at everything that he's done already as it is. Didn't he knock out Robbie Lawler?
Darren or Tyron Woodley?
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, he knocked him out first or second round.
Everybody forgets about that, all because he doesn't have the best reputation, the best, look, I guess, in the UFC.
Yeah, it's strange. But, hey, I'm not hating on him. I saw him partying with Dan Bilzerian, so he's living the good life, and he's with TMZ. He's UFC champion. I mean, you can't ask for much more.
I'm saying he's one of the most underrated champions right now. I'm sorry, but he is. Because
that dude's so explosive and powerful.
And that's where he doesn't, like, everybody says, he's not going to do this, he's not going to do that. But he does everything that he says he's going to do. He doesn't have to say anything at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the Darren Till fight, like, he basically controlled that fight the entire time.
Yeah.
Who was Kobe Covington?
I can't wait till they fight.
Yeah, he kept taking shots at him. And it's like, if Darren Till couldn't get past him, like, if he destroyed Darren Till, he's going to beat the living shit out of Kobe Covington.
I think so, too.
Yeah, that's just part of the game, though, man. People talk shit to get,
And even people have said Kobe Covington, he's trying to be like the next Conor McGregor, like, with everything he's saying. And it's not believable. Because, like, you watch his fights, he's not a Conor McGregor.
He doesn't back up.
Yeah, like Conor McGregor, he knocked out Jose Aldo.
His were awesome,
Yeah. So, of course, that put him, like, over, you know what I'm saying, that put him on a whole nother level. But if you pay attention to it, in, like, small ways, he's kind of died down, if that makes sense. Like, he lost to Floyd Mayweather, which I don't know why the fuck he even got in a boxing ring.
Money.
Fucking money, dude.
And that's what he cares about now. That's what he cares about now.
That.
When he showed up to the last press conference with Khabib, and all he kept talking about was money, and, he had this whole whiskey thing, like, that's what he cares about now. He's great fighter.
I think he's trying to capitalize on his position.
On his moments in fame, not everybody has continued fame and success, He was like sensationalized, and I think he realizes you got to capitalize on your time in the spotlight because it doesn't last forever.
Well, yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, it could last forever if you keep the same mindset. I feel like.
Yeah, but he can also make a shit ton of money right now
by
being a little cocky and being.
It's like we said earlier, man. Money changes you.
It does, and I feel like.
And I don't even think it's for the worse in his case. I mean,
But him getting money, he didn't start doing a whole bunch of just stupid off the wall shit until he started making money. Like at press conferences, like just saying whatever the fuck he wants. Slinging the fucking dolly at the dude's bus.
But besides that, what has he really done? I mean, he hasn't done anything so bad. He hasn't done
with not every press conference, but even with the Nate Diaz press conference where they got to slinging water bottles and shit.
Yeah, but that's all because he wants to promote the fight, I think.
But my thing about it is this: they don't realize that in actuality, it's given the UFC a bad name because it takes away so much from the fighting. In the case, like, you look at an old Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz press conference, there wasn't necessarily much, you know what I'm saying, like, extra shit. It was just them promoting the fight in a way that, it was like, okay, I want to see them two fight. Not, I want to see something happen at the press conference. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can watch the press conference now and get more out of that than you do the actual fight itself.
Yeah, well, I think it's like this. I mean, obviously, I think the violence outside of the cage is wrong. Like, you shouldn't be slinging shit or, putting other people in harm's way. But I think at the press conference, he's realized that he's both an athlete and an entertainer, and that's what sells the fight. I mean, look at fucking Ali. Ali, man, one of the best shit talkers ever, and he knew he was both an athlete and an entertainer, and that's why so many people tuned in to watch him. So, I mean, I think that's an important side of it is knowing you know,
But we
this
live
people
in
are
a-
paying not only to see you beat the shit out of someone, they like your personality. They want to see the crazy shit you're gonna say. Like I said, it's wrong that they're throwing stuff and making the UFC look bad and doing a whole bunch of extra shit.
But we live in a different time. Like, you have to understand, with everything that happens, it's gonna be on social media. Back then, they didn't have social media. So, Ali, if anybody didn't like him, if anybody, said anything about him, say anything good, say anything positive, or say anything negative, he wouldn't know. But just know that when he steps in the ring, when he's ready to box, he's ready, Social media is now the outlet for people like Conor McGregor, like Ben Askren, who wants that.
That attention to start shit.
Yeah, like as soon as I seen the how Ben Askren started going off on all these, UFC fighters, went off on Conor, he went off on Nate Diaz, Khabib,
Everybody on the UFC roster.
right? I automatically knew they were gonna sign him. They were gonna bring him on. And I feel like a huge example of this was the Nate Diaz fight. Like, Nate Diaz, don't get me wrong, he keeps it real, but at the same time, why Conor? Why not keep going after whoever has the belt in your weight class already as it is? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's just because he was an icon for the sport. I mean, UFC was already semi-mainstream before him, but it's never gotten the publicity that it does now until he blew it up.
See, this
So
is
he's like the golden child of the UFC just because he literally made it more popular than it's ever been. He got those outside because a lot of times before the UFC was strictly martial arts fans, and he made it appeal to the masses. Now every motherfucker's going to Buffalo Wild Wings to see Conor McGregor kick some dude's ass. Like, he was able to get big enough to grab the attention of the normal person. So that's why he has more of a crowd behind him because he brought so many other people in that aren't necessarily tied directly to fighting. And a lot of people who are uneducated, they're like, oh, that dude does cool shit, says a lot of shit, and then goes in there and backs it up. I mean, obviously hasn't backed it up the past 2 times, but
right.
I mean that appeals to people. Someone who can say whatever the fuck they want and then go in there and
that's
handle
what I'm
business.
saying. At some point, don't you think, like, doing all that, you're gonna lose your thunder? Because there are people like Khabib. I'm sorry, there are people like Khabib. They don't care about that shit. They're just gonna walk in and they're just gonna beat.
They
the
don't,
shit.
and you respect them for that, but then you also
Nate Diaz.
You respect McGregor's pursuit to capitalize off his opportunity and his position. Like, this is how I look at it. Dana White and the UFC, they scout these stars like Conor McGregor when they're coming up. Israel Adesanya, he just fought over the weekend, new rising star. They find these guys that have these personalities and they promote the hell out of them because they know it's going to make them money. I mean, they knew Conor McGregor was a unique guy with his personality and the way he went about things and whether he talked shit or
I'm not talking about
but
Dana
what I'm saying,
White. I'm saying, like, he's gonna do whatever is gonna make that company money. That'd be like, I look at UFC now the same way, and I'm sorry, but how professional wrestling is, how the WWE is. Vince McMahon would do anything to make WWE money.
yeah.
But Conor McGregor is a fighter. He's not a promoter, how Dana White is. He's not. And he needs to worry about what goes on inside of that cage.
I think it's like anything else. It's a battle of personalities. I mean, there's some people like, look at Mike on the wrestling team. Like, that dude takes care of business, but he's cocky, dude. He's confident in himself. And then there's people, and he's good. And then there's people, who don't, put on the show, talk it up, like have that smooth, gelled over personality, but go there and compete at the same level and do the same things, So I think it's at the end of the day, like,
but
personally
time,
it doesn't personally agree with you that he's a shit talker because don't get me wrong, I don't like shit talkers either, but that's just his personality. It doesn't matter if 5 people are watching or 500 people are watching. I feel like he's gonna go out there and do his thing. He's gonna talk shit. He's gonna get in your head because that's just who he is.
But at some point, it takes away from the actual competition itself. Because you have to realize the people who are cocky, who are confident, at some point they're more worried about what this person thinks of them, how the outcome of the fight or match or whatever is they're competing in is whatever the outcome will be, as opposed to the guys who they just train their asses off, go in there, whoop ass, and that's the I feel like it's the difference between having tunnel vision, and being pretty good or being really good, but having all these different factors. You know what I'm saying? Like taking a toll on your life. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, if you're talking that much shit, you better be working that much harder. I feel like it's unnecessary, but it doesn't necessarily have. I mean, a lot of times it does because you get caught up in the shit talking, but it doesn't have to affect your work ethic. I mean, if you're grinding head down when it's time to work and you're still talking shit, that's just your personality. But I mean, I agree with you saying if you let that become so much a part of your game that it starts to fuck with your head and take away from your work ability, your work ethic, that's when it fucks you over. And maybe that could be what happened to Conor McGregor. He has such a high opinion of himself and all the shit talking. He wasn't as hungry as he was when he was coming up. So maybe he didn't put that extra 10%.
If you pay attention,
this is how I see it. Tyrique, I think, is arguing that it's almost disrespectful to people that just put their head down and work their ass off and don't talk shit, which I see. But in a lot of ways, I can see the UFC almost promoting their business like the WWE with the press conferences and the arguments and fights with McGregor and the altercations that pursue. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the big difference is the WWE, they don't fight at the end.
Yeah, it's not as personal.
It's all a show.
Scripted, yeah.
The UFC, they promote and they may put on some fake acts, but they fight at the end.
It's personal.
So they go through with it. They have to walk out there and throw down. So
that's what I said. I think it's hard to say. It's personality, man. It's because everybody's different. Some people are cocky and want to talk shit, and some people don't. But you're right. At the end of the day, they're gonna find out who's been working harder when they step in that cage.
They don't do that. They can just
Hey, don't
keep
shit on WWE though.
No, I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying that's what separates the two. I think to say the UFC is like the
I wasn't comparing the two in the sense of.
But you're saying in a way they promote themselves, which I agree.
Everything now is more concerned with
view, like attention, money and
because you have to realize, okay,
buzz, pretty much.
Yeah, basically, times have changed. Okay, people don't their attention don't. You know what I'm saying? Stick with something for that much longer. Derek Lewis kept people's attention because he was funny.
Yeah.
But Daniel Cormier is the champion. But Derek Lewis is also the most appealing guy.
Followed Instagram heavyweight, probably.
Right. So, of course, people are going to start talking about, we want to see you in DC. We want to see you in, whoever's the champion. Whether it would have been him or Stipe. I feel like there would have been so many better competitors.
Yeah.
That were better fit than Derek Lewis.
Yeah, technically, for sure, I would agree.
I
think Derek Lewis just had the buzz. No, I agree. So
we don't live in a time anymore where
it's who's the best fighter. No, I understand what you're saying.
Now it's just
who do we want to see? Who's got the buzz about him?
Exactly.
Who's the most marketable? Who's going to make us the most money? So from that standpoint, the UFC does market, similar to WWE or someone more money.
So if you look at WWE, NBA, NFL, anything, the better guys are now on the better team. The better competitors, are now not better competitors, but the guys who they know they can make money off of are now the top dogs. When all the other people, they're kind of just you're lucky if you even get on the main card, that is.
Well, that's unfortunately the way it goes when they turn it into a business,
it starts taking away from the individual and going towards what makes money. Because I mean, a lot of places money's more valued than respect or pride or, you know,
It is.
right. What's right between fighters, you know, what's actually, you know, should be the case. It's more about what they want to make the case because that's what people want to see and that's what's going to be the most profitable, you know.
I just feel like, I don't know, everything now is just like a money
Oh, for
marketing
sure.
idea.
I
And
guess it's good we don't have a lot of money.
I guess so. Like, I'm sorry, but I didn't want to see Derek Lewis and Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Like, if I could have told...
I didn't really either. I mean, I was trying to feed into the hype, but it was hard for me to really
you can't
like,
feed
dude,
into that. You
this
can't
guy
feed
doesn't
into
have a
that
shot.
the same way that you could...
Unless you're a very uneducated MMA fan, you know damn well
There's a
Derek
skill
Lewis
gap.
ain't getting his hand
Yeah,
raised.
there's a giant skill gap.
I would have much rather seen Daniel Cormier go ahead and cut back down right now to face John Jones.
Oh,
again.
for sure.
I would have much rather waited for that fight than to have witnessed that on Saturday.
Exactly, but that's probably just another way to keep building up the momentum of Daniel Cormier. Like, he's now one of the double champs, so they're like, well, this is, you know, he's big right now. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's give him another dude that he can beat the shit out of. So people are like,
I'm
fuck
sorry,
yeah,
that's only
Cormier.
because John Jones wasn't there.
No,
I don't
no,
think
I'm
he
right,
wants
but I'm
to.
saying that as a business, they're trying to capitalize on that. Like you said, like, it's not necessarily about their skill level. They knew, I'm pretty sure they knew that Cormier was going to fuck him up. But, you know, he was all the hype, so they wanted to keep feeding into
They
that
know it's
hype.
a win-win. If Derek Lewis somehow knocks him out,
More money. If Daniel Cormier continues his momentum, more money. That's what I'm saying. They don't care about the
My
skill
thing
level.
is they tried to, promote Daniel Cormier. All this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying in heavyweight he couldn't have done better, you know, or couldn't have obtained the championship because obviously he's got it now, you know. But in the back of my mind, the only thing I can ever think of is he still has never beat John Jones.
yeah, and it's funny because I don't even think he's interested in the fight anymore.
He said that was going to be his last fight.
He said that, but now he's like thinking of just waiting for Lesnar to get through the testing pool, fighting Lesnar hopefully, and then being done in before he's 40. I think by March.
Yeah.
I think March was his date.
I mean, I would be interested in seeing him and Lesnar fight.
Like, he's over the Jones fight now.
I would
but
be, but okay, and that's another good example too. How he goes from
really.
WWE to UFC, and everywhere he goes, it's like, oh, he's the top dog.
Yeah, should yeah.
I mean,
Like, I don't.
I feel like it's different between obviously WWE and UFC, but I mean, he made his money first as a fighter, and I mean, he's a legit fighter. I mean, he was a NCAA a national champ,
He was
right?
a national
Minnesota.
So like,
But I
he,
feel like-
he
I
knows
feel
how to
like-
handle his body, but no, they definitely he built power up in, you know, and a name for himself in the UFC, and that kind of they literally just transferred that to WWE, which, you know, I don't think is necessarily right because he hasn't made his dues as a WWE wrestler, you know, but he just has that reputation of, you know, he was the champ at UFC. But I know what you're saying there. I automatically put him up as a top dog when he should earn his way too, as because they're two different things. UFC fighting and WWE wrestling are two different
It
things.
is.
So
But I feel like they both have the same logic. Build this one guy up. Build this one guy up until it's just can't nobody say shit to him.
Yeah.
And then it's just watch him fall.
What
down.
if Vince McMahon and Dana White have like a under the table contract
Oh my
working
fucking
together?
gosh.
Just another
Just imagine
conspiracy.
seeing John Cena in a fucking.
John Cena's gonna be the
In the
welterweight
UFC.
champion of 2022.
yeah.
Alrighty, guys. I think that's gonna do it for the podcast today. I think we
Yeah,
had
that's
some
enough.
great
That's
conversations.
enough MMA talk for one.
We actually talked about a decent amount of stuff.
Yeah, once I actually got in the conversation.
Yeah, this dude
I don't
was
know- I don't know
half
what-
drunk the first part of the podcast. Sorry.
I don't know what the hell y'all were talking about at first with the whole fluoride water and all this other shit.
Sorry,
Yeah,
man.
we'll leave that to Hunter and I. It's alright.
Yeah, fuck
And you
that.
guys. You guys are the ones we're sharing it to. Alrighty, guys. That will do it for the Black and White episode 2. Peace. Peace.